Semi-final time in the Hero Champions Trophy, the first of two semi-finals which promise a lot of entertainment. Former champions both, Germany against Australia, 22 championships between the two of them. Australia, of course, 5 times reigning champions of the Champions Trophy. We are in Bhubaneswar's Kalinga Stadium, where the crowd is just getting warmed up for what should be an exciting evening of hockey. With Germany and Australia, two familiar adversaries, facing off right before what should be a monumental clash between India and Pakistan. Out come the Germans on the right. In black, they have had just a little bit of a resurgence in their Champions Trophy campaign. Began, of course, on a winning note, then just lost their way somewhat in their subsequent games, losing to the Netherlands 4-1 and then also to Argentina 3-0, which was one of their worst defeats ever in the history of the Champions Trophy, but got it back by defeating England 2-0 in the quarterfinals. And the Aussies have also had a good run of results in their recent games. 4-all against Belgium after losing to England, then beating Pakistan and Argentina in the quarterfinals. It's a full house at Bhubaneswar, but first, as always, we'll await the national anthems of the two nations. Teams of great pedigree. The last time that Germany had a podium finish in the Champions Trophy, incidentally, was in Australia in 2009 when they lost in the final to the Australians. 3-5 was the result that night in Melbourne. What will be the result today? Of course, Germany have not scored too many goals. That could be a source of concern for the head coach. Just 4 goals scored by them, and those goals have come off the stick in the last game of Moritz Förster and, of course, the reigning young player of the year, junior player of the year, Christopher Ruhr. And before that, there were a couple of goals from Florian Fuchs in the first couple of games for Marcus Weiser, the 51-year-old in charge of the Germans. Olympic gold with the German women in 2004 and with the men 4 years later and 4 years later after that as well. So double Olympic champions up against the Aussies, the team that they replaced as Olympic champions, who won it in 2004. Of course, terrific history in this Champions Trophy. But remember, while they are the reigning champions, only 8 of those players are from the 2012 school of theirs. 194th match for them in Champions Trophy history. Graham Reid has played a few of them and has won a few of those as well. 4 golds as a player, 1982 for Karachi, 85 in Perth, 89 in Berlin and 1990 in Melbourne. It's a big match, and that's why lots of eyes will be on these men as well. Andrew Kennedy of England, he joins Dekang Chen of China at the other end. And Gareth Greenfield of New Zealand is today's video umpire for the first semi-final in this Hero Champions Trophy. Not surprisingly, this is the Champions Trophy. We have the best of the best in terms of the teams on the field. And we've also got some of the best brains and the best names in world hockey. There's Barry Dancer, former Australian coach, just keeping an eye on proceedings. And he's also assisting the squad, incidentally, in one of his capacities. Well, the privileges of being at a tournament like this as Australia push things back in green and gold from left to right, and Germany in black from right to left. I'm Divine Sen, and one of the privileges is of getting to interact with some of the best brains of the business, some of the best minds of hockey, and one of those is, of course, in the commentary box alongside me. Good evening to you, Simon Mason. Looking forward to these two games, no doubt.
Well, thanks for that introduction, Divine. I better prove something special this evening, but yeah. Very much looking forward to this. And whilst the Germans weren't great in the pool against England in the quarter-final, they were precise, they were measured, they were efficient. The Australians, on the other hand, have been powerful and they've been dominant, but they've lacked some of that precision. So kind of sledgehammer versus scalpel this evening, and we'll see who comes out on top.
That's a good one. Whose skills will come out better? Of course, some individual battles and matchups will also be interesting. How the defenders deal with somebody like Florian Fuchs at one end, and how Moritz Fuster, this man on screen, the captain, deals with the threat posed by young Tom Craig as well as Jake Wetton. There are some quality players in there, some Champions Trophy winners of the past. Of course, from the German team, which last won in 2007, only two survivors, Fuster as well as Tobias Hawker. Crisarello, all the way back to Tim Deven. Through the left, Australia looking to build on an attack of their own. Okundon lets it go, looking for Wetton to get through to it, but first to it instead was Bilt Arnold. Germany looking to build on something from the left, but giving possession away. The midfield battles will be crucial, as you would expect in a match of this magnitude.
Yeah, and we've criticised the Germans a little bit for losing their way through midfield, because with Förster having to drop to fullback to cover the fact that players such as Max Muller and other German fullbacks who've stepped away, Martin Hainer, he's dropped in there to give some leadership. It's left Hauke a little bit exposed in midfield without a compatriot alongside him that he really understands and trusts.
Australia looking to build on this attack, and they have one possession in the shape of a free hit just at the edge of the 25. They do get another deflection in, which will lead to a long corner. So the first realistic attempt, but it does feel like a couple of heavyweight boxers just feeling each other out. Not anything substantial yet. Once again, looking to move in is Okundon. Get some support here. Cirello lobbing this one in. It's nicely presented itself to Kavanagh, who's looking to turn, spin, get his way in. Was there a stick check in there? Well, Germany getting a reprieve, but that was dangerous.
Yeah, it's a lovely, in the end it is a stick obstruction. 50-50 there, with Fuchs trying to create the tackle, but all of a sudden Kavanagh there holding the stick down. Fuchs has come underneath it. As he tries to come in there, that is when he hits first to stick, which is why the free hit's given.
The last meeting between these two teams at a major event was at the 2012 Olympics. Germany running out winners, of course, on that occasion, and they will look to continue that. Haven't had a lot of success in this calendar year, especially by the massive standards that they set for themselves, starting right from the World League in January in New Delhi. This is an opportunity, terrific one at that, to set things right. Finished last in their pool, remember, even though they did beat India in their opening game. This has been swung in, and the first touch, first goal as well. And it's a perfect start for the precise Germans. The ball was fed in from the right by Lucas Windfeder, and in the end a useful touch in from Timur Oruz.
Clever movement through the midfield off the free hit. Hauke first of all feints to go in, Windfeder feeds it in, Oruz leading on the reverse. They were practicing these in warm-up before the game. It's the slightest of touches on the backhand, over the hand, the goalkeeper's right hand unable to extend, just the glancing blow as the stick gets forced into the turf.
Did mention right at the top of the telecast that they had only had 4 goals in 4 matches up to now, but this is where it counts. And Timur Oruz, who made his debut incidentally in this Hero Champions Trophy, has just notched up his first international goal, and the ball was fed by another man who's at 19, just a year younger than him. So the future of Germany combining for a brilliant start to this game. This will put the Aussies under pressure because they haven't chased the game too many times thus far in this Champions Trophy.
No, they haven't had to, but they'll have enough experience. They'll have absolutely no question about their physical condition, their ability to chase the game. They've got plenty of time left, obviously, and they'll just put that out of their minds. It wasn't a great bit of defending. There was a channel straight down the middle. What we failed to see on the replay, because it took place slightly earlier, was Hauke's disguise. When he first took the free hit, he moved 1 metre right to left, shifted the defence before he went lateral to create the different angles in to the Australian circle. They will certainly come back at this pretty hard. They won't accelerate anything yet, but they won't take their foot off the gas in any way, Australia, when they press against the Germans.
Time nurtured, who opened their scoring in their quarter-final fixture, which was against Argentina. Argentina earlier winning against England to set up a clash for 5th position, with the Dutch moving down the right. This is Okenden trying for some space for himself, the Tasmanian, but eventually loses out on possession. Hauke gets some support.
So Hauke moves this free hit, just takes it there, shifts the defence, then goes laterally, just creates that extra metre of space. You look at the point defender on the reverse stick.
It's terrific work, and that's why the whole idea of making sure that you have precise and purposeful practice, that shown in that early goal by Germans. And we saw it in the quarter-final against England. Once they got 1 goal and just played with a lot more flair, with a lot more confidence than they'd done at any stage in the previous week here in Bhubaneswar. Again, moving down the right, it's Christopher Ruhr who sets up the ball, looking for young Nicholas Wellen. Just 1 day short of 20, and will be looking for an ideal birthday gift to be playing in the final against either India or Germany. Moritz Förster, the captain. Oh, that's almost a great pickup from Wellen.
Very, very close. Great long lead out on the reverse stick from Wellen out to the right flank.
Australia will, make no mistake, get back into this, both in terms of a physical and an emotional effort. That's exactly what Simon Orchard was looking to do there. Bullying his way through the midfield, eventually wins a free hit for his team. All the way back from defence, from Hayward on to Kavanagh. Down the right, this is Matty Dawson, swinging it through effortlessly. Daniel Beale. Craig gets into a great position too, but just concedes a free hit. Quite a spell.
Yeah, Craig, as he went through there, was bouncing players off his shoulders. The ball was up in the air as he went for 3-dimensional dribbling, as I call it, taking it up as well as side to side. And that man there was certainly bustling his way through to the top of the circle.
This has been received in the centre from Glenn Simpson. All the way through to Beale, who got one of the goals in that quarter-final victory, 4-2 against Argentina. Does win a long corner here. Some pressure against Germany as we approximately reach the halfway point of this first quarter. Remember, 4 quarters of 15 minutes each. This has been swung in, looking for the reverse. Has it found a foot? Indeed it has. It is inside the D, and it will lead to the first penalty corner of this match, and it has gone the way of the green and gold.
Yeah, it's a relatively cheap corner at that. It's because players have backed off. Look at the first line. Förster had absolutely no protection in front of him because his midfield defence in front just turned their back on the ball.
Matthias Muller was the man who was just turning, taking evasive action, and made it quite difficult for Förster. Now, Australia. They don't have the big dog available. Chris Cirello not on the pitch right now, but they have ample players of quality to make up for his absence. Matty Dawson is one of the batteries, but Hayward has also scored from these situations. A little bit of a feint, and it nearly turns out to be a miss hit, but eventually just hit wide. That was close. Jeremy Hayward was ever so close to getting the equaliser here.
And this is a wasted opportunity. It's not a great bit of goalkeeping. Jacobi doesn't get enough on that at all. Hayward missing the left post with Förster riveted to the line. You notice from Jacobi that his weight was back in his heels, wasn't able to effect a good kick.
Now this could be another chance for Germany, moving in through a quick short pass and attempting to find his teammate. It was good work from Grambusch, and nearly found Wellen on the return. Christopher Rohr, who got a goal in the previous game, is playing with some authority in the midfield and just allowing Forster to shore up the defence.
And it feels like in these early exchanges that Germany have moved forward yet again. As we said through the pool, they were quite lax. There was a lack of precision against the English. Their big players stepped to the fore. Suddenly, Hauker and Forster were delivering exceptional ranges of passes, and their press started to pay dividends of stealing the ball away from England. In these early exchanges, now the German press really making the Australians struggle.
That was beautifully worked. Muller got it right through the legs of Beale. It's been turned back, going for a shot as well. A couple of Australians in there. This time it's taken a deflection too, but eventually it is a goal. Finds its way in, and it was smashed in with a lot of power. Germany have their second goal, and this match is just about 9 minutes old.
And it's transfer through the midfield that leads to the space around the back. The ball pulled back in typical fashion. Players getting it on back foot, getting the ball away. And that's an exceptional touch in the middle of the circle from Aruz as he's trying. It comes off a foot, nothing wrong with that. It wasn't Aruz at all. It's Kavanagh's foot on the way through, but the shot in the first instance simply comes from Grambusch.
In sport, you should be prepared for everything, but this is a scoreline I dare say Graham Reid wouldn't have prepared himself for, because Germany have come out all guns blazing, and as Simon said absolutely rightly, they have had some great precision in those balls, getting into the Australian D, putting pressure, and it has paid rich dividends.
Well, if you look, it's just looking where the ball comes from and understanding that the Germans are using the width through midfield much better. The Australians so far haven't really come down the flanks to create any opportunity. It's 1-2s through the centre line. And going through there, the Germans are able to defend narrow, protect space and turn over the ball.
This time looking to move down the right. Jeremy Hayward. Well, there's Graham Reid in the foreground and Tyler Lovell in the background warming up. So I just wonder if there's a change soon likely. In any case, Australia have been alternating their keepers. But interesting that Charter has begun. Normally comes in the second quarter. Now here, Daniel Beale working his way into a good position. Given as a free hit, but just at the edge of the dotted line. Will have to go all the way back.
During the course of that play, the Germans have picked up a green card, so they're just defending around the edge of the circle, trying to hold the Australians away. Australians just attacking right at that point, and it's one attacker with two defenders.
There's confirmation of the card for Rohr, which will mean that he will miss out at least the next minute and a half or so, I reckon. While they retain possession, it shouldn't matter too much, and they've done a very good job of that. Jonas Gomol, another one of their new players, just made his debut at this Hero Champions Trophy. So all these youngsters just growing in stature with each and every game that they play.
Great transfer play, that's a better pass.
It is indeed, and almost working his way into a good position. Flynn Ogilvie, one of the new players from the Kookaburra side. Not for nothing are they champions, 5 times champions of this particular crown, and looking to work their magic back into this game. Still a long time to go, more than 3 minutes and 45 minutes after that in regulation time. Would back them to get back into this match in some shape or the other sooner or later. Dawson all the way up to Nick Budgeon down the right. Cirello will spank this one in. It's taken a deflection.
What a save.
Great save. Yes, absolutely brilliant.
And that's the clearance, not just the save, that is so important.
And there was a man just at the base of the stick. Jacobi had to be solid, and he indeed was on that occasion.
Yeah, first picked that up on the follow-through round his right knee, so it's no wonder that he's limping. It's the follow-through there, it's not a twist, but that's a great save in front of Rusty Ford on the far post. Fortunately, when Forster at the moment, when he gets that little bit of knock, you worry about whether it's recurrence of the old injury, but No, as a bizarre thing to say, that's only a smash around the knee, and he can cope with that. That's not muscles or ligaments. That's just simply a bit of a bruise.
Top quality player who missed the World Cup because of injury and makes his return to the team for this Euro Champions Trophy. Now down the left, it's Arnold. That's been a free hit because of the way that the dispossession was attempted into the last 2.5 minutes. Germany, already up by 2 goals, will be looking to put the pressure really straight onto the Aussie camp. Tobias Hawker, last time around he wrong-footed the defense. This time again switches play, takes it to the right. Winfeder, this time off the reverse. That could have been dangerous too.
Delightful execution of a reverse stick cross. Didn't try and hit it too hard. Just blasted it across, but with some control. So there's enough pace on it to get a deflection towards goal if necessary, but not so much that he starts to get under the ball and lift or squeeze it into the turf.
Firster once again with a lob, looking for the men running down the right. One of them was Ruhr, back on the pitch now. Instead, it's the Aussies who come away looking for a counter-attack of their own. Sideline ball picked up by Okundon. Quick give and go, and it's been taken inside. Ogilvy comes up in support of his players and looking for a through ball, but comfortably seen through by Winfeder. No problem at all. Australia will be happy, one would think, to see this through without any further damage. 2-0 as it is. 2 great goals. Can they find the third here? Germany. It's Christopher Wesley who's walked his way in, losing his footing. And is he going to go for a referral? He wasn't happy with the challenge. He indeed does indicate to Andrew Kennedy that he wants to get this for a penalty corner. In fact, it's been given.
Yeah, umpires communicating with each other. Dekan Cheng out of shot. He signalled to Andrew Kennedy. His angles were just slightly wrong. Wesley had already suggested video referral, so it would have been a penalty corner outcome anyway, I would suspect, once we see these replays. I think it's a bad choice from Wesley anyway to try and force it into the circle. As it is, it just pops onto the foot of Budgeon. He should have passed this under his arm, really, but he's tried to push it off his right foot, slipped, and it's almost anti-skill that's undone Australia. Budgeon stick onto his own toes.
Quite evident. Players anyway have set up. Here we go, looking for a 3-0 lead in this. It's Morfoster, goes for it. But well saved by Charter. Still an opportunity, looking to swing it around. Another foot inside the D. Another penalty corner for Germany. Another chance to drive home that third. Good spell of play here from Germans.
Yeah, simple penalty corner, out and trap. Firster wanting to go out to the left hand of Charter, but doesn't get round it enough. The second phase play just driven into the shoes of Ciriello.
First battery close to us is Fuster, but he's got Winfeder alongside him, who's also got some great ability. It is the captain who goes for it. Couple of players converging, but just couldn't finish it off. In fact, almost winding up as an ugly collision between the German players.
Yeah, I think they were going for a tip in here round the houses. Förster was trying to get that out to one of the 2 players. Ruhr or Zwicker coming in off that left-hand post. Didn't pull round it enough, not enough right hand. It slid off the end of his stick.
Well, a team like Australia, the best way to fire them is, or rather to meet their fire, is with fire, and that's exactly what the Germans have done. Played this first quarter at a blazing pace. That has paid rich dividends in the shape of those 2 goals. And they've also, one would think, perhaps shaded a little bit more of the possession. Kept the ball to themselves, controlled the pace of this first quarter. The first 15 minutes exclusively belonging to the 9 times champions. Only 2 this millennium, and that's what they'll be looking to improve upon. But for the moment, in this first semi-final, it's after 15 minutes, Germany 2, Australia 0. Good goals, both of them, for a team which was struggling to find goal scorers in the earlier part of this Hero Champions Trophy. They really have come to the party in the last 2 games. In the last match, Mo Foster and Christopher Ruhr finding goals, and today 2 field goals of top quality, one by Timur Oruz, his first in international hockey, and then the more experienced but still another young man, 22-year-old Max Grambusch, getting his first goal in this Hero Champions Trophy. Marcus Weiser, for the first time perhaps after 15 minutes, looking quite assured, but he'll know that this is a job which is, if one can call it that, only quarterly done. Still a long way to go in this match. Graham Reid will be reminding his players of that fact as well. Lots of time, lots of twists and turns expected in this game to determine who becomes the first finalist in this Hero Champions Trophy in Bhubaneswar. A magnificent crowd here, Simon, and of course in many respects for them the main course today will be India-Pakistan, but this is not too displeasing an appetizer.
It's a great game of hockey to start with. There's some good tactics being employed out there, and I think if I interpret the movements of Graham Reid, he's looking for his midfield to pull wide and his forwards to accelerate longer, so the ball carrier has a lateral pass and also has some longer ball up towards their opponent's goal line. If he can do that and create more depth, more length in their attack, then they have a greater opportunity and more space through midfield.
As always, a change in goalkeeper. Andrew Charter makes way for Tyler Lovell. And for the first time in this Champions Trophy, it's Germany who have a comfortable cushion early on in a game. They have won a couple of games before, but in both the finishing touches came in quite late, one must remember. Off we go in this second quarter. The green and gold once again from left to right. And the Australians haven't fallen behind too much in many of the games. Even in the match against England, they had it at a pretty close situation till about the last 10 minutes or so when they conceded final goal against the Englishmen. It will be a big test of character, and that is why this is the best of the best. Down the right, good deflection, but nobody home. First to it will be Devon.
Yeah, that's one of those things you go, oh, that's a good bit of skill, and then realise it's got absolutely nowhere near any of his teammates.
Simpson for Australia. Moving down the left is their skipper, Okenden. He'll rough the challenge, which is why there will be a free hit, allowing Australia to restart the play. And just inching closer towards that German goal. If they can find one goal back in here, that will give a huge fillip to this team. Of course, they have shown before in all sorts of competition that they can come back from the dead, literally.
They have shown that, but I'm not convinced that they'll get many returns out of a static German defence. The greater returns for Australia, I think, are going to be on counter-attacks as they step up through midfield, they get the ball, and the fitness, the physicality the Australians have enables them to really accelerate through spaces. And it's when the Germans have maybe only got a 3 or a 4-man defence rather than a 10-man defence that there will be gaps, and a little bit of that lack of experience might start to show.
Captain Moritz Fuster has really been pulling the strings across all good things that Germany have done in their last couple of games. No surprise since that they have scored 4 goals and not conceded any in the last match, as well as the first quarter and 2 minutes in this semi-final. Natural ability for everybody is to, or rather tendencies to look up to him, try and get him the ball, and from there on he launches those long balls which have been well received, it must be said, by the Germans, who looked switched on from the first minute. At the moment, possession with Australia. Devon looking for a long ball of his own. This is Wetton. A bit of scales, just losing his footing, which results in a quickly taken free hit. Working his way in, finds another foot. Cirello, will he look for one of his sweeping strokes? He does indeed, but doesn't find anybody.
Tom Craig had led into the midfield to create the distraction, and Wetton had come in behind him. Jake Wetton seeing that crossfield ball, but Cirello almost having no finesse insofar as it was far too powerful. He does everything at 100%. Obviously, that man, we know how effective he is on penalty corners, tackling, distribution.
This is young Tom Craig again, working his way through. It was a good ball in, but well defended. He has been quite instrumental in all the good play that has come in from the Germans today, Tobias Haucker, and that's what you expect from the reigning FIH Player of the Year. Again, the ball did come in dangerously, but the Germans showing good composure in defence. No errors from them yet.
But look, there's 4 Australians behind the line of the ball, and I think if you're that high up the pitch, you could only really have 3 if you're going to make meaningful inroads into the circle, because the Germans will always have an extra man to create a 2-person defence against the ball carrier.
That's what happened on this occasion. Lieven was looking to slip the ball through, instead came off to German possession, getting the ball in, squeaking it in with a lot of strength there. That was Nicholas Wellen.
Oh, Wellen had seen Uruz. As Wellen's down the right-hand side, he's already looked up. Uruz comes in, but what he's done is the ball's gone away from him. He's rotated his wrists, and in rotating his wrists and stretching, the blade, the face of the stick opens up. It lifts and slides away to baseline.
This time it was Wetton, allowed it to go out for a sideline ball. Quickly taken. Takes a deflection in. Tom Craig nearly finding Chris Cirello, I must say. Once again, Germany defending well, and what they do very quickly is transfer it into attack in a matter of seconds. Here they come. Tobias Hocker. Who will he look for? He's got Forster close to him, but chooses to go with the overhead. The big one, and it's been beautifully picked up to Gomal. Got some support inside the D. If he wants to explore that option, gets another free hit, which will be taken now by the man who scored the second goal, Graham Bush.
Oh, if Gomal had only been able to take that down in one. It was a beautiful overhead take. It's dropped over his left shoulder and he's picked it clean. But on the far side of the pitch, Rua had come in to support.
Again, superb execution of skills, the way that was sent in from the reverse, and could so easily have provided a goal-scoring opportunity for Rua. But Lovell did well.
Yeah, Lovell had to jump towards that. Ball's fed in on the reverse. Lovell's seen it and he has to step forward. I think he's just caught Rua's feet between his, but watch this overhead take, over his shoulder, take down. If it hadn't come back into his body, he had support straight across the circle.
It certainly has been a lively half from the Germans, and showing that they are growing in confidence. Are they going to witness the reigning champions being displaced from that position today? Remember, if they lose, then the best that they can finish is third, which will be against the team which loses the second semi-final. And I dare say none of them will want to lose that one. India versus Pakistan in any sport is always a titanic clash. Through ball, just summing up something that's been missing about the Australians. Not quite the same efficient machinery that we saw in the previous game as well. This is why Graham Reid has a pretty animated expression on his face.
Well, as we said at the top of the programme, it's not necessarily that efficiency, it's more the precision of what they're doing. Now, Forster, Ikan Chen needs to make his mind up which way his arms are pointing, because Forster was setting up a free hit, but he was deliberately seeing how close he could get to his Australian opposite number and then driving at him to draw the 5-yard infringement. And just got a little bit silly because it became about 2.5 yards between the two of them. Quite often that'll happen as we watch as the game goes on. Just as an observation, a 16-yard hit is classified as a 16, that's what it's called, and the dotted line signifies 5 metres away from there. So in the purest of terms, a 16 should be in line with the top of the circle, and a forward should be able to stand on that dotted line. So often it's not the case because the ball rolls forward a metre or two, but if a player stands on that dotted line, are they at liberty to claim they are the requisite distance, so the free hit must be taken back? Discuss that on social media over the course of the afternoon.
Absolutely, wherever you're watching, you can connect with us on social media, particularly on Twitter, FIH_hockey. Hashtag them with CT2014 and the best of the best, or rather the hashtag best of the best. Here come the Aussies. Dan Beal with a good ball, well received as well, somehow managing to keep it under his control. And eventually, Christian White does win a sideline ball. This time unable to control it, but his commitment to begin with would have pleased the coach.
Yeah, the ball's bobbled away. Tristan White gets it, gets back on his feet, and somehow manages to get a touch on this as Forster drives in for the tackle.
That's a sign that both teams want it like anything, a place in the final.
Needs a call now as he drives forward. It's a great foraging run all the way forward from Vinfeder.
He's done exceedingly well, and he's found his Junior World Cup teammate from last year, Christopher Ruhr, in fact man of the tournament in that. He also eventually won him the Junior Player of the Year. All the way back to the skipper. Forster And who has built up a beautiful connection with the crowds in India thanks to his experiences in the Hockey India League as well. This ball raised a little bit, and that is why there will be a free hit just alongside the dotted line, which Simon was earlier referring to. Oka once again just looking for a little bit of trickery, but this time the Australian defence aware of it. Oh, stick just getting hooked.
Yeah, I think that'll be a card because that's deliberately breaking play down. Furk realise what's going on. There's a stick holding issue there. He's not letting that go in any way, shape or form, and it just stops Tristan White getting any sort of momentum forwards.
Just breaking things down. Germany, of course, still leading by that 2-goal margin. And Australia beginning to find some fluency, which will stand them in good stead, provided they can defend well at their own end.
Good skill from Godis as we watch there as he turned round off his backhand, spun round and then pulled the ball back under his feet to get his hips pointing at the goal.
Cousin of perhaps one of the most famous Australian players in recent years, Jamie Dwyer. Another man who's massively popular here in India. If you ask Jamie, he will say that these days his middle name is Jamie Singh Dwyer. This has been played up to the left, swinging it in, hits Zwicker, smack, I think on the hand.
Exactly, just above his shin guard. Dawson has tried to go in there, he's gone underneath the ball completely. So he's tried to slap it. Look how the blade opens up as he drags it. It just catches in the turf. If you're pushing the ball that much too far forward or trying to accelerate the ball or stick too much, you dig it into the turf with too much aggression, it just rotates because it catches and opens the face up.
Not showing much emotion, but it surely did smart because he has been substituted as a result of that blow. Would have been the plan in any case. And this is a ball well taken by Devon. Australia looking to work their way back. They have players of quality. Dawson with a good ball through. Ford was awaiting, but first to it was Godis. Just couldn't bring it under his control, but shows his thumbs to indicate that that was good vision from young Matty Dawson. Australia coming in with their share of youngsters as well. Lots and lots of big names missing. In spite of that, they have shown that they have the resolve. Some of the younger players have impressed in the course of this Hero Champions Trophy. Oka with some support, gets that ball back. Again looking to push in through the right. Got Arnold as well, but goes with Oruz. This is Forster. Switching over to the left, Wellen. The man in that position was Matthias Muller.
Florian Fuchs just runs straight down the middle of the pitch. Probably needed to move that ball somewhere different than just in a straight line.
Somebody who began very well, got a couple of goals inside the first 2 matches. And particularly the late goal that he got against India seemed to suggest that Germany will perhaps take their time. Remember, a lot of the players are coming in from the indoor season. These are conditions which not many of them would have experienced in the past too often. This is well worked. White through on to Orchard. Now looking for Devon on the right. Does come off a German right towards the end. Sideline ball taken by Godis. Oh, sent in. That could have gone anywhere. Rusty Ford was closest to the ball, but just couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, second and third phase play from Australia, getting the ball in there, forcing the Germans. Put sticks in. Took a nasty bobble to start with, and the shot under the arm was a difficult one. Jacobi had to deny Devon.
Big Nico Jacobi has had a good game thus far. A couple of times that he's been pressed into action, made sure that he's not been found wanting in terms of decisive decision making. White on to Orchard. Go to the right where Matt Godis is waiting. Smacks it hard, smacks it straight into one of the Germans. In a defensive position, that was Benedict Fook. Ford. Dawson.
The Germans now, yeah, sorry Deborah, and the Germans now sitting very deep and allowing Australia to come forward. Donald has decided he's going to come out as a high point man on the press so he can actually put some pressure on, very, very nearly forcing a turnover.
That's all they'll be looking for. Remember, leading by 2 goals, so all they need to do here is see it through to half-time and earn a bit of a well-deserved breather. And if in the process they can somehow buy a goal out of Australia, that'll be more than anything they would have wanted at this stage. This is brilliant trickery down the baseline from Jake Wetton, one of the Australians who's really impressed in the course of this Champions Trophy.
What Australia are struggling with is that as they attack, Forster is sitting deep in the defence in a sweeping role, so he's not marking anybody. So as soon as there's an elimination, he can step in towards the ball carrier and create a double team defence. And when he does so, it means it's so hard for Australia to break through or eliminate.
And they're all defending in such good numbers. There's absolutely no way through, as they realized even in their previous foray. In the meantime, card going against the Australians. Matt Goad is given a green card. Just won't help their cause. Not able to find any sort of fluency. A few players have looked good when they've gotten on the ball. Yet again, almost an easy turnover for the Australians, who are also temporarily down to 9 outfield players.
Just an ugly tackle down that sideline. Goda's getting his lines of tackling slightly wrong.
Oakenden will roll this one through. Australia desperately seeking at least one goal to get back into this. Oh, for the first time the German defence looking a little rattled, and they have conceded a penalty corner. Is this the opening that the Australians would have been looking for?
Well, they might go to video, because Forster's not convinced whether he was inside or outside the circle. It lifts up dangerously, definitely lifts up dangerously, but is he inside? I think he thinks he is. It was a fine line, wasn't it? The second touch, however, definitely was. There's no doubt about that. So Forster lifts it up to Polk in his second touch. That may well have been outside the first touch. It was, but Polk there doesn't take it cleanly, and he then creates the danger for Wetton.
But in the course of this penultimate day of the Hero Champions Trophy, we've already seen some good penalty corner conversions. Argentina finally breaking their duck, scoring 2 today to steal a victory over England, thanks to Gonzalo Peña. This is Australia though. It's Chris Cirello, and it's a good save.
That is brilliant from Forster on the line. What a stop. I was just about to say beforehand that Cirello likes the slider. He really does, to go to the goalkeeper's left foot. He did it superbly.
Smashed it in with a lot of power, but no goals yet for Australia in this match. It's Germany who have struck twice in the first half. At the end of the first 30 minutes in this game, it's Germany 2, Australia 0. 2 fine field goals, deflections really by Timur Oruz, and the second one from Mats Grambusch. And right late in the end, a great save from Moritz Forster.
This is brilliant on the line. It slid across. Goalkeeper wasn't there. Forster with the middle of his stick. He's cleared this. It's gone off him and it's gone over the sideline. He's delighted with that. His arms go up in the air. Heroic.
Absolutely heroic he was in the last match as well. Man of the match in their quarter-final performance against England, which has seen them get their way through to the semi-final. And at the moment, they are lauding it in this semi-final as well. Australia will have to find their way back into this game, because as things stand at half-time, it is Germany 2, Australia 0.
Movement opening up a channel for a ball to fire in, or is on the simplest of deflections. It's a dead easy channel through to the heart of the goal. Poor Australian defence getting caught out on the wrong lines, and again a raking crossfield ball, a little touch through, creating an opportunity. It falls in the end to Grambusch on the second phase, who puts it in off a foot deflection on the edge of the circle. It changes the line of it slightly, undoing the goalkeeper, suggesting that it was high against Kavanagh to begin with. And then right at the death, line man, you wouldn't catch me doing that for anything. Brilliant body shape, superb core strength, attacks the ball, swings it clear, and that's somewhere in Bhubaneswar city centre off the top of Forster's stick.
An absolute elation, because that was right at the end of that first half. And had Australia got 1 goal back in, then the numbers would perhaps looked a little bit more in their favour. As things stand, as you can already see, percentage play from Germany, 2 shots, 2 goals. That tells you that they have been executing their plans well.
Yeah, it does, and they've allowed the Australians to come onto them, and by being compact, it frustrates Australia. They haven't found any real opportunities to eliminate and drive into the circle.
This, of course, is the third match of the day, the first semi-final and the first match of this evening session. Lots and lots of India flags because India will be playing the match to follow. India and Pakistan will be taking each other on. This was this morning, and believe it or not, there were kilometers of queues, lots and lots of people wanting to get in. It is only officially a 5,000-seater or capacity stadium, I believe, but there were many more, I think, this morning itself.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people are going to be sitting down during the course of the evening, so how many the seating is, who knows, but you're right. 1,000 meters of queues to get in here.
What it will mean, though, is that there will be some amazing support for both teams. And I'm sure the drama in this semi-final is not done yet. Both Germany and Australia still to serve up 30 minutes of exciting hockey. We've already seen one shootout. Will we get to see another one? But for that to happen, Australia will have to fashion a remarkable comeback into this. Their first half not quite up to scratch, but as the numbers indicated, they did show that they had some moments, just couldn't convert those into clear-cut goal-scoring chances. No lack of support. The good old jerseys as well from World Series cricket days. And it is certainly going to be quite an exciting second half. What will be the key here, Simon?
Sorry to Bayern with the noise that's increased over the course of this, even in our commentary box, struggling to hear you across the room, but the crowd getting into it as the players come back out.
Well, let's find out what Graham Reid is thinking about, because he's standing alongside Michael Absalom.
Graham, 2-0 down at the half. Can we get your assessment of where you think it went wrong for you guys in the first half?
Oh, there was a couple of things. You know, in deep defence, we didn't run with a couple of times, just simple things like that. I think the problem is scoreboard pressure ends up, you know, causing a few issues around the traps. But no, I mean, look, when we had the ball, I thought we moved it pretty well. We made a few good opportunities. We just, you know, we had two corners and we put neither away, so that makes it a bit difficult.
Moving forward, how do you combat that, and how do you come out on top of this game if you're going to take the win and make that final?
You'll have to watch and see, mate. I can't give away our secrets, but I've said that it's about us. You know, it needs to be our game that we play, and that we don't mirror the way that they're playing. So it's back to our game plan.
All the best for the second half.
Thanks.
Yes, he knows exactly what is required at this stage. Remember, he was in charge, even though Rick Charlesworth was the head coach. But he was the one who oversaw the team's last victory. Nico Jacobi is continuing in the German goal, but it is Andrew Charter who's made his way back into goal for the Australians. Both teams swapping ends for this third quarter. So this time you'll be seeing Germany on your screens going from left to right in black. As the FIH president Leandro Negre there in that navy blue jacket looks on. It is green and gold. Kookaburras, the defending champions, 5 times champions, of course, of this Champions Trophy, 13 times overall, and 5 times in a row since 2008. They're going from right to left. They need to find that third gear. They find a few moments, as their coach alluded to. They did have some circle penetrations, had a couple of penalty corners as well, but just weren't able to convert.
Yeah, what's important is exactly what he identifies. Shows good awareness of his defence.
Well, this is a chance. The very first one. Charter does well with the first save. Could still be a follow-up, and it's found its way in. It's a fantastic finish in the end by Florian Fuchs. And there was a preliminary save made by Andrew Charter, but just couldn't cope with the strength, ferocity and placement of this follow-up shot from Florian Fuchs. His third goal in this Hero Champions Trophy.
Baseline pullback from Ruhr. It falls, reverse stick for Zwicker. Flashed at in the goal. That is an exceptional finish from Florian Fuchs. The backhand from Zwicker crashing into the goalkeeper. Look at that composure. Gets a top edge of Charter's glove. It's a great save in the first instance, but he flashes at it and falls over. Absolutely brilliant, composed international finish from Florian Fuchs. And good control in the circle there from everybody concerned.
So inside 32 seconds of the restart in this second half, third quarter, it's Germany who have pulled away to a 3-goal cushion. And now the mountain does look like a big one to climb for the Australians, but they'll have to dish out something of what happened against them. Matt Goad is getting back after his temporary suspension in the late stages of the first quarter. Or the second quarter, rather.
And what you can't see, Devine, is that he's come on from the green card infringement and ended up on the penalty spot away to the left of our pictures with no German player within 50 yards of him. Jacobi was screaming at Förster to come back, but with the crowd noise, nobody heard anything. Germany have got away with it now because the play didn't get to Godis immediately.
And Godis, a little bit like Tom Hanks in Castaway, was throwing his hands about, flailing them about, looking for the attention of his teammates. Nevertheless, they have found this free hit. They were up 3-0 against Belgium, and from there on the Belgians did find their way back in their pool fixture. It ended in a 4-all scoreline, and the Australians will have to show similar character here, but it won't be easy against a German team which is increasingly beginning to show that familiar German efficiency. Oh, here's a chance, going for the reverse. Well stopped by Jacobi.
And that is what was trying to happen down the other end with Charter. You watch the two phases of the save. As it comes into the middle, there's a little flick ball into the midriff, and Jacobi actually then gets his stick on it and taps it into the foot of Godis in the middle of the circle. At the other end, when Charter had been hit in the midriff, he swung and missed, giving the second opportunity to Florian Fuchs.
Just the start which Australia wouldn't have wanted, and certainly Germany would have been more than pleased if somebody told them that as soon as the game restarts inside 32 seconds, you will get another goal. 3-0 at the moment. Long ball intercepted by Devon. He finds Craig. Craig has some good pace to burn down the left flank, picking it up on his own. Lovely little run as well, but just looking to do a bit too much by himself, perhaps.
I appreciate he might be trying to do a bit too much on his own, but he didn't have anybody to help him, so he had very little choice. His change of pace is incredible for a big man. He goes pretty quickly across the ground, then all of a sudden there's some afterburners that enable him to just cut round the outside or through a channel and create real incisive running opportunities.
Now Nicholas Wellen looking very, very fluent now, this German unit, once again finding the goal scorer, Florian Fuchs. At 23, the oldest member of this attacking line for the Germans. But they have found that extra gear that they needed in this tournament over the last couple of matches. Slipped through by Simon Orchard, looking for some support, gets Wetton, back with Orchard. The man on the left, and Craig looking to flick it in, but standing bang in the center. The big man from Hamburg, Worcester. Here's Wellen. Some of these young players in particular today have looked quite impressive, but as I say that, kiss of death from the commentator, because Lucas Windfeder unable to stop that from hitting his leg. A soft penalty corner given away, perhaps the kind of moment Australia needed.
That's an incredibly soft one. The ball's just popped up in front of Windfeder's stick. He's in exactly the right place, doesn't go low and flat because there is a little bit of a bobble, tries to take it on the face of the stick, but even then it just comes off a top edge into his own foot.
I just think if Australia score here, then we could be in for a very, very entertaining remaining period in this match. It could open the floodgates, and we will, I think, have a goal fest. But for that to happen, the big dog, the Italian stallion, call him what you will, he needs to score. Chris Cirello at the top of the D. As the two-goal man alongside him, Jeremy Hayward as well. It's Cirello, and he's found one back for Australia. Massive, massive moment this could turn out to be. Drilled in with a lot of power, and Chris Cirello now stands alone as the top scorer in this Hero Champions Trophy.
At first glance, I think this goes through Jacobi. It does. There's so much pace on that. It's nutmeg Jacobi completely. His feet, look, he just jumps his feet out to the sides, and in doing so, he's off the ground when the shot comes in. Almost impossible to move one leg to the other to create the barrier. And Jacobi done underneath himself. Cirello suggesting it was deliberate. Doesn't matter whether it was or not, the result is the same.
That is his 99th international goal for Christopher Cirello in his 154th international appearance for the Australians. So one away from his century. Tonight will be as good a night to get to that 100th. Terrific time for the Australians to score though, and that just seems to have set them alight. Looking to put some more pressure on the German defense. 3-1 at the moment, 2-goal difference, but between two quality teams, you always think and know that there are goals coming. As Cirello just did. On to 4 goals now in this Hero Champions Trophy, all by himself, going past the likes of Mink van der Weerden, his teammate Jeremy Hayward, Sam Ward, and Mohammad Irfan of Pakistan.
Discussion away from the live hockey that we've had on football, on the pitches throughout the tournaments, is how are goalkeepers defending and what sort of goals are they letting in? Is there something they need to start to adjust?
Oh, that was close. That was played in. Wetton was in an ideal position to find another goal for himself. He's also had a very good Champions Trophy. In fact, on the whole, this team has been doing very well. 13 goals. The only other team to get as many, Netherlands at the moment. And indeed, England as well on 13 goals. Now, this is Cirello. Oh, it's a flick on. That could have been dangerous too. But Australia, the last few minutes have really been good for them.
Yeah, so looking at the replay, look at the players in the circle trying to contact with each other. You've got impact. First are trying to get out of the way. There's a suggestion of creating the impact there to start with.
Orchard. Through here, has he been able to control it? Indeed he has. Dan Beale looking to find Oakenden inside the box. It's Forster who comes and douses the fire, as he always does. Still with the Australians, it's Simpson, and nearly found the perfect deflection. Orchard was so close to finding a second here for Australia.
Well, Australia's second and third place play. Forster got it off his own baseline. He gets fed in there so close to a tip-in. I don't think there was enough pace on the ball to really have troubled Jacobi, even if it had got a deflection. And moments earlier, Jacobi had used his big frame to come out and smother the ball along the baseline, which he does so well, using his huge size.
Once again, Beale working well, almost finding an infringement inside the D.
We can see that from Forster again if we get the chance. I mean, there's the goal scorer, but Forster's defensive position a moment ago was exceptional. He's gone into tackle. Instead of leading with a long stick that exposes his feet, he's simply run at the ball with his stick in front of his shin guards and gone, you can't get through there, it's not going, and he picked it beautifully.
35 meetings in the past in Champions Trophies. Australia winning on 13 occasions. Germany winning outright on 16 occasions. And one of the 6 draws was actually a draw in full time, but eventually was won on penalties by Germany. That was the 1992 final. 1995 rather, in Berlin, which was 2-2 after full time and won on penalties 4-2 by the Germans. Here they come once again. Nguyen looking for some support. Let's go all the way back. Scooping this one up. Forster just unable to get that back in play. Gamal.
Well, Gamal was having to try and take that down over his left shoulder and pull it back into the pitch in the same movement. Just about impossible.
Australia with that goal have just done enough to offset the damage done by the early goal scored by Florian Fuchs. And that means that they have had a little bit more possession overall in this match. Was the case in the first quarter as well, first couple of quarters. Circle penetration is also more by them, but Germany, of course, have been 100% efficient, or rather, they have been very German with their shot taking.
That's a beautiful ball cross-field.
Christopher Rohr gets into the D, turning back, going for his forehand, still has an opportunity, but a couple of great attempts at defending, and eventually pulled away by Fergus Kavanagh.
Well, the space created by the brilliant diagonal pass. The forward just holds in the middle of the pitch and leads away to their right with their back to goal.
There's Australia moving through. It was a muscular work in the midfield which set up this ball. And at the centre of all of that was Simon Orchard, the man who got his 50th goal in international hockey in the previous game. Once again, coming down the right, Simpson looking for some support, almost finding Oakenden. But Moritz Forster right in the right position. Through to Grambusch.
A great little skill, turn and dink for his feet.
He's looking for Gamal, has found him as well. He'll look up for some support. There's a couple of players arriving. One of them is Christopher Wesley, just inside the D. Has he found a foot? Not quite. Australia managed to regroup and will be looking to hit swiftly on the counter-attack.
Well, it looked like he had found a foot, didn't it, as he went across the top of the Australian circle. It wasn't, it was the end of a stick. Just broke down the attack because the support on the inside right channel was coming in waves from the Germans.
What these 2 goals in this quarter have done is brought the game alight. It was anyway being played at a healthy pace, but it really has quickened up. And Germany have realized that they cannot stay back in their half for too long. So they're trying to get rid of the ball as quickly as possible and replace it with attack of their own. Now looking for a deflection. Attempt from Beale, just couldn't get it goalwards, but yet again, good thought from the Aussies.
As the ball comes in, Beale overruns it slightly. It's behind him as he tries to pull it in. A little bit unfortunate not to get a touch. This is the beautiful crossfield ball that creates the opportunity for Rua. He tucks it under his feet for the backhand. Now when the shot needs to go, it's good defending. Second phase there, should have got on a foot for a corner. Marcus Weiser frustrated by the lack of outcome.
That's what they wouldn't give for a fourth goal here to pull away with 1 quarter to go. That'll really put the pressure right back on the Kookaburras. As things stand, a 2-goal cushion is just not enough.
And that frustration from Weiser, you can understand it, but it must be so difficult as a forward, international forward, for any team. What a takedown, however, from a massive overhead.
It is. Matt Goders has worked his way in. They have found, looking for a foot. Yes, indeed, they have found it. Germany don't look happy. Will they go for a referral? Both teams have their referral intact, but it was just a little frustration more than anything else from Captain Forster.
Yeah, it's the stick that he was just asking the question, what's it for? Because if it was perceived that it was going to be, it was a foot, then they would have appealed. But the fact that it was given as a stick tackle, there was definite stick collision. It's a huge overhead ball. Three-dimensional skills. Dink into the circle, not dangerous, pulls it down. Now is the stick tackle that comes raining in across Ogilvy.
They don't have Cirello here, but they have Hayward, who has also converted 3 goals before this. He will be looking to join Cirello among the goal scorers, but it is Dawson who goes for it, and a follow-up goal line save. Still another one, and this one has found its way in. It's converted by Nick Budgeon. The youngster from Launceston, Tasmania, has come up with his 12th goal in international hockey, and that's brought the champions right back in it. This is really the best of the best.
Out to the top, it's a great first save from Jacobi, gets down well. That's a superb reaction. Förster across the goal line. It hits the top of Jacobi's glove on the way through. Super goal line save. Nothing that Jacobi could have done. He's down, prone on the floor, raised left hand, but Budgeon finishing it very, very well.
A scoreline which might well have looked in Australia's favour had it not been for a certain Moritz Förster, who's been absolutely splendid by the goal line. But this time his initial attempt was successful, but the follow-up by Budgeon was smashed in with a lot of velocity, no chances at all. But Australia slowly but surely are clawing their way back, and they have, one would think, have the momentum right now in their favour. That is why they would want this quarter to go on for a little while longer with the same ferocity as they have shown thus far.
Oh yeah, and how things change. Give that moment in the circle when Rua could have won a penalty corner for the Germans, but elected to try and get away the second phase shot. Frustrated his coach quite so much. And Australia straight back down the other end, and no question about the precision of the finish after 2 great bits of goalkeeping defending.
This will be a test of character for this young German squad. Remember, the first goal resulted from a PC which came of a soft penalty corner conceded by young Winfeder. So the likes of Winfeder, Wellen, they will really have to show what steel they're made of, and that's what the coach will be looking to. Cirello back on the pitch, on to Dawson. With the big man.
Well, Australia, if they're going to get this third and equalising goal, they just need to be patient. I was going to say patient. They might play off the back of mistakes, but in terms of creating something for themselves, they need to be patient, not force the ball in. The German defence will be reasonably well set. And if they can just pull that defence around, that's when the opportunities and spaces will open up.
The previous 35 Champions Trophy encounters have produced some classics, and this promises to be one such. Still 2.5 minutes in this third quarter and 15 minutes to follow. Moritz Förster. Long ball, diagonal ball, well picked up by Grambusch. His goal looks like it happened a long time back. Hooks trying to find Grambusch, but first to it is Budgeon.
Budgeon needed every inch of his reach and stick length to get in front of that, because it was a delightfully weighted ball from Fuchs, looking for the inside pass.
Clash of Champions will always produce a few sparks, and that has been in evidence at the Kalinga Stadium at the moment. Again, Australia being stretched just around the corner. That left flank has been utilized a lot by Germany right from the first quarter that we've seen. And Number of runs from that man in there as well, Tobias Hawker. Haven't seen too much of him, in fact, in this third quarter. Roving ball looking for Grambush. He's got some support inside. Fuchs is in there. Vellin is in there as well. And Indian Wong is also working his way through, but it's picked up by the Australians instead. Not too many Germans in defence. This could be an opening here for the Aussies. Wetton quickly looking to release that ball, but just cannot find Godus on the right.
This is when the Australians are so good. It's when they get the swarm defence. As soon as there's a ball that's not flat to open stick, they step out and try and win it with 2 and 3 men committed to the ball carrier.
Some delightful work in the middle by Ogilvie. The youngsters from Australia growing by leaps and bounds. One of them, Matthew Dawson, on the ball. Through on to Cirello. Tim Deven. Deven has some space to run into, chooses to get this ball going. Wetton does well to keep it in play, but cannot keep it within his control. Anxious moments, last few seconds here to survive for the Germans. They began this quarter on a very bright note, but Marcus Weiser knows that this match is well and alive, and Australia in particular are alive and kicking. 20 minutes or so left. This ball won't help the German cause too much because it is a sideline ball here for the Aussies. Budgeon. Cirello, last 10 seconds.
Well, he'll go big. He'll look for something in the circle. First, that's a great takedown. What an eye for the ball. Showed it to us in the penalty corner defence and does it again then.
This match is stewing into a classic. After 3 quarters of this game, it's Germany 3, Australia 2. Third quarter promising and delivering in terms of goals. One early strike from Florian Fuchs, at which stage it looked like the match could be going out of Australia's reach. But when you are the champions, when you're the reigning champions, you do not give up that easily in any case. 2 goals coming in from penalty corners. One of them from Chris Cirello, a big drive which went right through the legs of Nico Jacobi. And after that, a follow-up shot from a subsequent penalty corner which was well smashed in by Nick Budgeon. And that is why Australia have made their way back. That is why Graham Reid is speaking with a lot of passion, as is Marcus Weiser. Everything on the line in the 4th quarter. Germany might well be leading by 1 goal numerically, but it has been an even contest, and that is why this 4th quarter is going to be an absolute classic. Don't go anywhere. This will be something to look forward to. Germany have that 1 goal cushion, but Australia have come back into it. One would think the momentum of the game is with them. Simon Mason alongside me. Simon, how can Germany begin this 4th quarter if they have to see this match off? I suppose the emphasis should be on trying to find another goal.
Yeah, but in principle, the first thing they've got to do is they've got to handle the ball better. They are carrying the ball into dangerous areas and letting Australia swarm. I'd suggest they need to pick one side of the pitch. They need to probably roll out through right half, right midfield, roll down the touchline, play to safe spaces.
Christopher Rohr hasn't scored today, but got one of the goals in the 2-0 victory over England during the quarter-finals. As always, Australia have swapped goalkeepers, but both teams are still pushing back from the same end. Germany from left to right, possibly for the last time in this particular match for sure, because even if it is level, it will be a shootout after this. Here they come. Jonas Gomal looking to find his way through. Chris Cirello was first to it. Green and gold of the Kookaburras, distinctive in the shimmering floodlights here at the Kalinga Stadium. Tyler Lovell is back in goal, and will he have a situation to deal with early on? Not quite. Well done in defense by Australia. The key for the champions will be to not concede as early as they did in both the first as well as the third quarter. The only 2 quarters, mind you, in which Germany have scored in this match. Most of the action, at least the goal-mouth action which has resulted in goals, has happened in little clumps, and Australia will be hoping for the first clump to come their way.
And what they'll also be trying to do, I would suspect, is they're going to try to offer certain passes. They're going to try and say, right, okay, you can have the ball into centre midfield, but the 3 players around that will know that that's the pass they're offering. So as soon as the ball starts to go there, they'll step in from their wide positions and really try and steal the ball away in incredibly dangerous offensive positions.
Turnover in midfield, and almost returning the favour, but just clattering into the foot there of Martin Zwicker. Not pleased with that, Marcus Weiser. One of the most animated coaches that you'll ever see. Australia once again in a great position, looking for the tomahawk, but just running away from him. A very difficult skill to execute, not quite able to do it there, Craig. Still with Aussie possession though. Kavanagh onto Cirello. He's got Devon down the right. Chooses instead to look for Hayward, but first to it are the Germans. Possession for them. That one goal cushion, will that be playing on their mind, or would Marcus Weiser have just told them don't look at the scoreboard at all? Scoreboard pressure, an interesting term used by Graham Reid during the halftime interview.
Yeah, well, it was Graham Reid who used that set of words, and suddenly you may well suspect it's the Germans who are looking at it, except they won't be looking at anything other than the play that's sitting in front of them, trying to make sure that when they get the ball they do the simple things well. They'll be struggling to remember what the coach has said. It now comes down to instinctive play.
This is Eddie Okenden, whose instincts have been good right through in this Hero Champions Trophy. Lost their opening encounter to the English. Oh, this one was slept through and didn't quite find a very good touch on it to begin with. The Germans, and eventually the Australians also unable to control it. Now there's a chance for a counter. Not too many Australians in defence. That's why Gommel's pass needed to be perhaps a little bit better, but that's also not giving credit to some good defending.
Yeah, and Gommel's pass was on. He had commitment from Grambusch going up in front of him, but looking at it where it tucks it under his arm. We're looking now at Craig trying to go around the back to win the corner. He slips. Firk somehow gets his feet out of the way, and once again it's the man, the captain, stepping in behind to clear. Going back to Gommel's opportunity up in this top corner. At times you suggest, right, why do you need to cut in field? There were 4 Australian defenders and only 2 black shirts. Trying to pass it is almost counterproductive. Run it towards the corner flag and take a little bit of time off this clock.
The big thing about big players is really that they turn up with their best game in the matches that count, and that is true of Moritz Forster. At the moment it's a green card for an off-the-ball incident for both Forster as well as Craig.
Yeah, Forster and Craig have clashed in the middle of the pitch, and now they're both sitting. Now Forster needs to sit down pretty quickly because his 5 minutes doesn't start. I reckon Australia have got about a 20-second advantage, maybe 30-second advantage before Forster's backside actually hit that chair.
Confirmation of the card there for Craig.
So first picked up a card for what looks like simply falling over Tom Craig's foot. Got to assume they've both got the same colour of card. I thought Andrew Kennedy initially pulled the yellow card out, was what I saw, but we'll get confirmation of that soon.
This has been slipped in once again, but Tobias Hawker stoutly defending this. There's confirmation it was a green for Forster as well. Not too much of a damage in terms of the relative imbalance of the two squads, because by the time Craig comes out, inside 25 seconds or so, Forster should be back as well. But he has had a terrific impact on this game, and it's up to Australia to try and take advantage of his absence, albeit temporary.
Well, and that's your point, as Simpson just simply clatters into Arnold and just says, I'm sorry, because he's whacked on the fingers.
Now there's a chance. Oh, on the spin, going in with his reverse was Jacob Wetton, and almost converting the Queenslander.
Lovely first time ball in. He picks, he turns, he hits. He's just falling away from the ball, so it's the leading edge that gets underneath the ball.
And interestingly, just 23 years of age, Wetton, but already has aspirations of being a coach once he hangs up his stick. Somebody who clearly does think a lot about the game, but they need to think about this one. It's a soft giveaway. It's a chance here for Germany to put this game out of reach, but not the right choice, one thought from Nguyen. Could well have swept up front and gone for a chance himself.
Yeah, I just don't understand why he tried to throw that ball back into the circle. He had no support. It was a good 2 or 3 metres away from his teammates. He could have just cut round the back onto the baseline, kept possession and won something in the circle.
Instead, it's Australia on the move, just around the baseline, looking for something, but cannot keep the ball in play. Daniel Beal. That's why it will be a possession for the Germans yet again, with that 1 goal advantage. Forster back on the pitch. critical now for him, one would think, to play a majority of these remaining 8 minutes and 48 seconds as we speak. Zwicker through to the captain. Foster once again finds Wellen. This is Polk. This is nicely picked up.
It was a hard blow on the whistle, but Wesley staying on the pitch, he just ran back to try and tackle and clipped the heels of the Australian player in front of him as they both ran for the ball. Nothing malicious in it.
Down the right, it's Rusty Ford who's looking for something of his own. Comes off Foster's stick, but only for a long corner. Possession again for Australia. Still looking for that equalizing goal, which can potentially take this, remember, into a shootout. We have seen one earlier today. Now this was a beautiful bit of skill. It was Simon Orchard, blindsided pass, and it caught the defense unawares. Are the Germans going to refer this one, because they are not convinced that that came off the foot?
We don't. It's not a foul then, yeah? There's no foul, okay. Okay.
So it's been given that it's come up into the circle and hit a foot. Förster has immediately said it doesn't hit anything. It bounces up. It looks ugly.
I've given a penalty corner for German defender into the body. They're saying it hasn't hit the body. Have a look for that for me, please. Yeah, we'll do.
The ball that came in was lifted slightly, but it's not dangerous. It's got a little lift on it. He's suggesting that hits somebody's body, but there is nothing. Wellen that's in there. Förster is immediately saying it doesn't hit anything. That doesn't hit a player on the way in. Bounces up here. Now we need to see if it hits anything. First and foremost, it appears to hit the hand on the stick. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a better angle. Does that hit? That hits stick and goes through legs of Wellen. So the first contact appears to be off his stick.
It's a tough one, that's for sure. Gareth Greenfield of New Zealand is the video umpire, and the big decision for him will be which part of Wellen did that hit. Had there been a bigger diversion, I would agree that that perhaps would have come off the body, but it seemed like it just carried on almost in the same line.
Yeah, it comes up on first and it looks like it hits the stick in the first instance, but it's then whether that video umpire considers that when it pops through the legs of Wellen as he comes back in, does it go off the inside of his leg, or does it just brush his shorts?
Andrew? Yes, Gareth. Your original decision was penalty corner. Original decision was a penalty corner, correct? I have a decision for you. It hasn't hit the German's body, so you should restart with a bully. Bully, okay. And Germany retain their reserve. Okay.
Yeah, that's good in real time. If you look at the angle from Andrew Kennedy, he's gone on a reaction between the players. It's popped up off Förster and through the legs of Wellen. I think that's a good captain use of referral from the captain.
And at an important time as well. So Foster has really been in fine fettle today. Good decision making by the goal line, good decision making when stealing the ball from the Aussies, and on this occasion looking for a referral when it seemed to be a clear-cut penalty corner to the naked eye.
Yeah, and you also look at the reaction of the Australian players. As that ball popped up, two Australian players, immediately their hands instinctively went up. That's not trying to con an umpire. That's a gut reaction on what was going on. So you can understand why the decision's been given. It's only Förster, who's close to it, recognises the specifics, that it hasn't touched anything, and therefore goes to Andrew Kennedy, asks why he gave it, and says that's not the reason, that's not what happened. Let's go to the TV.
It is a bully, but it is in the Champions Trophy semi-final. Which way will this go?
Förster, how quick was his hands? That's brilliant. He's touched sticks, he's taken the ball, he's rolled it away. Well, the Australian doesn't know what's going on.
It is Daniel Beale who's looking to work his way through again, and we saw this a few times in the pool stages, didn't we, Simon? When there was a bully, there was a soft giveaway, a good sporting giveaway, but there's no inch being given, none being asked for today.
No, we've seen two bullies during the course of the day, and neither of them have been uncontested. Yes, Zwicker absolutely right. As Beale came in to try and take the ball, Zwicker was just in a strong position. Beale smashed the back of his stick.
These two were also the two countries to contest the first two finals in this format. Remember, Champions Trophy used to be played in the league format to begin with, round robin. And once knockouts were introduced in 1992, Karachi, Germany beating Australia 4-0 in the first ever final, and the two teams playing the following year in Kuala Lumpur, where Australia just returned the favour by the exact same scoreline. Two teams with a rich history in this competition. The two most successful teams. Dan Beal has a yellow card, and that could prove to be pivotal, especially when they're chasing the game, looking for that third goal. Will be down to 10 men for a minimum of 5 minutes. Dawson. Most of this fourth quarter has seen a lot of high press from the Australians, looking to put the pressure right back on the Germans. Germany have defended well on a few occasions, have looked like they can threaten of the counter-offensives. This is one such occasion. Falk onto Gomal, just looking to work his way through, but coming in the way was Jeremy Hayward, leads to a free hit, and the two of them just paying some close attention to the two.
And interesting from Hayward, because Hayward didn't move at all. Hayward just stood still and Gomal ran into him, and Hayward was like, oh, what are you doing? What are you running into me for? I'm a fairly big lad. Let's not square up middle of the pitch. A lot of it's gamesmanship.
This is Foster, calm, composed, very classy. And if Germany do make their way through to yet another final in Champions Trophy history, they will have him to thank for his assured performances over the last couple of matches. But still, a while to go. 5.5 minutes, enough time for the Aussies to bounce back.
Well, Hayward there, interesting, as he led with the stick in his left hand. Right hand was almost fending off the stick of Furk. He came through midfield. I'm sure if there'd been any contact, umpire Chen was right on top of the line of the run.
Cirello was looking for Ford, just couldn't control that ball, and it's been taken instead by his opposite number. In fact, Zwicker in there. Zwicker doing a good job of defending. Ford allowing this to be taken by Cirello. Got some players inside the box. Craig is in there, Orchard is in there. First with those Tristan White. With Cirello down that right flank, needs to control this under pressure. Rambush and Cirello take a tumble.
The whole Australian bench have got up there in objection to what was going on. I couldn't see any problem with it. All you've got is a player trying to shave tackle down the left-hand side. Strength from the Australian.
There's a ball coming in, and it's inside the D. It's a penalty corner. This time there is a foot. This time the Germans aren't complaining. If anything, Foster is frustrated that there was an error, and this is what creeps in a match in the later stages. That's what they need to be careful of. For the moment, they need to defend this.
It's Vesely that slips as he comes in, slips across as he tries to plant. It's the softest of corners. Vinfeder had managed to tackle in the first instance, but Vesely is coming into the tackle too quickly.
Well, watch out here for Chris Cirello. Every chance that he might have a go at this one, because he is poised on 99 international goals. The big dog, as Rick Charlesworth calls him, has already got 1 goal today. Injection is in for Cirello. It's hit with a lot of power. The initial save is made, and then some good supporting defending as well. Nico Jacobi averting what was a surefire disaster there.
Well, again, in real time, it looked like it had come off Jacobi into first or on the post. Nobody appealed.
And this time a stray ball falling here for Fuchs. What will Germany do with this one? 3.5 minutes or so. Timur Oruz, who set the ball rolling today with the first goal for Germany. The youngsters have really come to the party today. Rambush also has had a good game. And the man on the ball now, Vinfeder, some competent defending, one mistake which allowed just a little bit of a breather to the Australians to get their first goal in.
Zwicker lucky to get away with that. He had a stick check in the middle of the pitch that was he obstructed and got away with it.
And it's Orchard who has released the man on the right, looking to work his way through, but not happy with the final decision of Gilvey.
Well, Furk, it's a great takedown. You see this opportunity though, flicked again to Jacobi's left. Does he get his hand on it? He does. First is playing at it, but gets out of the way. No problem from anybody at all. That's a good save from the German goalkeeper. He's read that off Cirello. That's not beaten him at all.
He is a solid goalkeeper, and he has shown that in ample reserve today. Nico Jacobi has been quite spectacular on a few occasions. Still looking to press forward. Cirillo. On to Devon. Down the right. Could there be a late stinger in the scale? Because at the moment Germany will be looking to get those balls into positions from where Australia will need to work hard to get that back in. Will they throw caution to the wind and get an 11th outfield player on with goalkeeping privileges?
Well, you'd certainly have thought so. Australia have done an interchange. Goalkeeper's been so quiet, had very, very little to do. It's been all about Australia. You see those stats at the end of the game. I think it'll have expanded beyond what it was at the end of the third quarter.
Well, there still is enough time. It's less than 2 minutes, but all it takes is 1 instant to unlock a scoreline, and that's what Australia looking to do. Devon down the right has won a free hit. Lots and lots of green and gold shirts. Devon again getting some support in.
Players going shoulder to shoulder. Aruz just needs to be careful as he runs as a midfield forward. We've got a player down in the circle. Somebody's been hit. There's time being called.
It's Indian, and there was certainly no sign of the ball there.
If you remember back, there was a referral in the Belgium-Australia game for something off the ball. The team asked for it to be referred. The umpires will probably consult in a minute. Förster is speaking to Andrew Kennedy and asking him to go and speak to Di Kang Chen.
Let's see if we can pick anything up here.
In the centre of the circle, something going on here. It's behind the goalkeeper. We don't see the impact. We just see a player going down, but we don't actually see any impact.
The Australian there was Tristan White, and White was running alongside Indian, and as we saw in that angle from behind the goal, there was just some kind of an impact, but of what sort we were not quite sure.
I think the impact was in the midriff or the sternum, potentially leading to the player getting a bit winded. While that's happened, the Australians have taken off their goalkeeper and are on to the 11 outfield players.
It's Tim Devon who's wearing the bib with goalkeeping privileges. We saw Belgium utilize this well in today's first game when they got the last gasp equalizer from a penalty corner. Will that be the aim here? Get the ball in there, look for something inside the D. It's Oakenden sends it in, but there was no touch.
The crowd love it. However, as it comes in, Fuchs, who's been outstanding, gives the ball away on the edge of his circle.
Graham Reid can envisage the crown slipping, although it must be said, Australia, even if they do get knocked out here, it won't be for lack of effort. Terrific fight back even in this game from 0-3 down.
A composed play from Förster down the touchline using his indoor skills.
This is whipped in, but first to it, yet again, a German stick in the shape of Matthias Muller, another previously uncapped player who's grown in leaps and bounds in the course of this Hero Champions Trophy. Germany will be making their way shortly through to the final unless there's a last-minute touch.
It's hit a foot. Wetton on the back post has kicked it.
Oh, yes. Almost.
It's gone across. Wetton has hit him square on his left foot. Australia have gone to video referral asking about something.
We've given a free hit to the defence because we think it has hit the Australian body. Australians are saying it's hit a German body. Could you check that for me? Okay, we're checking the German body.
It must be the finest of touches on the way through. If you look at player reaction, that's not touched anything on the way through there, and that's hit an Australian foot. You see Jake Wetton's reaction. I mean, I can't see how. To me, that's nailed on. It's exactly the right decision, and everybody's backed away. I think the Australians, it was more of a last-second hope, just in case.
Absolutely. 15 seconds away from getting knocked out. Still got a referral up their sleeve.
Guys, it's a free hit defence. That was your fine. No further, okay? On my whistle, okay?
Förster will find a channel, and this will go as far away from his own goal as he possibly can.
So Germany looking to make their way through to the first final since 2009 in Melbourne. On that occasion, it was Australia they lost to. Moritz Förster is beginning to feel it. Fantastic performance. No time left for Australia. The defending champions have been dethroned. Germany are through to the final. Final scoreline here in this match has proved to be Germany 3, Australia 2. Fantastic game of hockey here. Australia fought their way back, but some terrific scenes in terms of how the Germans are celebrating this. Look, Nico Jacobi wants to join in, but everybody wants to be a part of that huddle, and why not? It was a perfect team effort, Simon.
It was. It started so well. It wavered a little bit in the middle, and the Australians got some momentum, but in the end, they just closed down. There was that chance for the equaliser right at the end when Wetton kicked it, but in principle, the Germans held firm. That man created and scored some great stuff.
So since 2008, they had created an aura of invincibility about themselves, the Australians. Since still some talk going out, but this is how it's finished. It's a full-time scoreline of Germany 3, Australia 2. And this means Germany will be gunning for a 10th title come tomorrow. The question still remains to be seen whom will they face because there's another huge semi-final coming up. Marcus Weiser finally can afford a smile, Mace.
Yes, he's not the most expressive of men other than when he gets animated and annoyed. From a positive emotional perspective, you don't see him smile very often, but he must be delighted with some parts of the execution of his team. Also puffing out the cheeks with relief because they had to work for it. At one point it looked like it was going to be plain sailing, but wasn't.
This is what happened in the game in the second half early on. In fact, inside the first 30 seconds or so, Florian Fuchs with a good finish.
It was a great pullback. The first save was good from Charles, but that swing and miss is what cost Australia. The finish from Fuchs from a narrow angle, just epic.
Australia's fight back was begun by Chris Cirello, who still will have to wait for another match to get to that 100 goals. But this was a fantastic finish right through the legs, and then a good bit of opportunism of this.
Yeah, and if the Germans were precise, the Australians were powerful. They came back into this great flick and save. Australian with a superb reaction from injection. However, from the goalkeeper, unable to do anything. And that man who loves being in India has talked to the crowd and the Indians all week.
Absolutely, some fantastic scenes of celebration. Germany will, of course, be playing the final, and this is how they got there. Circle penetrations 9-5 for Australia, and as Simon did mention, possession also more for them. Shots 5-3, but the number which counts the most up there, 3 goals to 2. Australia converting their only 2 penalty corners that were seen to be converted to goals in this match. 6 cards overall, but Germany with those 3 goals to 2. It's been a fantastic resurrection of sorts from this German unit. It looked like they were dead and beaten. They lost to Netherlands 4-1, then they lost to Argentina 3-0, but you can see that passion in their team looking up there now. Tobias Hawker doing a lot of talking, the reigning player of the year.
Yeah, and it's been a measured progression through the pool, and all of a sudden they've started to fire. Against England they looked so much stronger, and today they started brilliantly, and it set them up for a fantastic outcome.
A fantastic victory here from Germany. Let's go down for the post-match presentation, because standing down by the pitch is Michael Absalom.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What about that for our first semi-final between Germany and Australia? It went right to the wire, and it is now time for the hero man of the match presentation. Alongside me is Ken Reid from the International Hockey Federation, and this evening's man of the match from Germany, Florian Fuchs. Congratulations, Florian. You went on, and your goal was the decisive goal in the end between the two sides.
I mean, it wasn't just my goal. It was a fantastic team performance today. Everyone performed well. Everyone was fighting for the win and for success, and that's what it's all about. I mean, it's awesome. I can't believe it with such a young team to reach the final. That's something really special.
So many youngsters in the side, as you said, and so much great support here in Bhubaneswar. A word on that.
We love the spectators. We love the crowd. It's just awesome how everyone's cheering and celebrating hockey. We love to play here, and we're really looking forward to the final.
You've got the final tomorrow. That could be against Pakistan, or it could be against the host India.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, we will watch it in the hotel, and then tomorrow we will see us again here.
All right, go and put your feet up, enjoy that, and congratulations on being the hero man of the match.
Thank you.
Fantastic turnaround from a dismal pool performance. They were remembered in Pool B and finished last below Netherlands, Argentina and India. But how they have come back into this is a magnificent story in itself. But that's the stuff that champions are made of. And that is exactly what they've shown here. Moritz Fuster and Tobias Hotha, of course, the only survivors from the team to have last won a Champions Trophy, which was back in 2007 in Kuala Lumpur. And they've just picked up from there and shown in 2014 that not only those two players, but some of the younger crop also have a lot of quality about themselves. And what about what's coming up next? There's the Indian team getting into a huddle before their big semi-final. Simon Mason, that is the big match coming up. India against Pakistan, always a crackerjack.
It's absolutely massive. One has to hope that the Indians feed off the crowd. Pakistan will be in awe of this atmosphere. It'll be an amphitheatre, and as the tensions start to grow, which team will feed off that the best? Will it be pick up and play, or will it be freeze in the headlights?
Play like a champion tonight. Germans certainly did. India and Pakistan will be hoping to replicate the same. It's a massive, massive encounter which will be coming your way shortly, just about 35 minutes from now. So wherever you are across the world, do not go away, because India versus Pakistan in any sport is always a classic. See you soon to see which of these two teams goes on to meet Germany in the final.